Dora the Explorer is a show I watched on the TV when it aired back in 2005, and now, after it became one of the biggest franchises in the world, I've decided to re-watch it. And now I am done with it. I feel like I'm just entirely done with the entire Dora the Explorer show. I've held hope for the Dora for so long, to the point where I'm just not very confident they can make a single good episode. So, here's my review, or analysis if you want, of Dora the Explorer. Please note that I am only covering the canon episodes. There are several movies, but because the show itself rarely ever references them and their place in canon is questionable at best, non-existent at worst. First, let's start with a breakdown of the show. The show has 178 episodes total, which you'd think is enough time to flesh out the characters, the setting and the plot. You'd think that, right? Keep that in mind as we'll get back to that later. Each episode follows Dora, a 7-year-old Latina girl who breaks the fourth wall more times than Deadpool, and is also the protagonist. She is accompanied by Boots, the anthropomorphic monkey, a purple talking backpack named Backpack, and a talking map, fittingly named Map. You can see where the writers took their inspiration from. Now, this sounds like a good premise. That is, until you realise that this is all that happens in the entire show and exactly nothing else. The plot structure is always the same every episode. At episode 30 of the show, I felt like I was just consuming factory-made episodes, produced by a sentient algorithm that recycled plot elements in the most bland dish it could serve me. Nothing in the show contributes to any overarching story at all, because there is nothing. The show soft resets itself every episode, and throws away every small opportunity of character development it has. Talking about characters, let's talk first about our protagonist. First, I need to praise Dora's acting. Her performance in the show is phenomenal. She conveys an avalanche of emotions of pain, hurt, empathy, regret, sorrow, hope, and understanding of the anger that she once went through. So much is said without saying a word. In this scene alone, her eyes tell so much. It's because of this that it's extremely frustrating that the writers fail to develop this into a character arc or development, but instead decide to abandon all of this setup for a quick gag. Something you'll see a lot of in Dora. Gags and jokes that don't really land that much. Jokes are oftentimes just taking away from any of the tension the show's trying to build up, instead of delivering a heartfelt moments, considering most of the jokes seem to be made for 10-year-olds. Now, there is one exception to this show. Swiper the Swiper. He's an anthropomorphic kleptomaniac fox, who acts as the antagonist to the main cast. Oftentimes the stuff he steals are worthless, and more times than not only serve to bother or stall Dora. This immediately sets up intrigue. What are his motivations? Where does he come from? What's his end game? Mark Wiener really carries the performance, and every time he's on screen, it's a delight. He has this frantic and chaotic energy to him I can only compare to Heath Ledger's Joker. A loose cannon in the show, a wild card, a virus in the data. However, Swiper suffers the same problem Dora does. Now, I understand that not all mysteries need to be explained. Sometimes not knowing what's inside the box is a better payoff than revealing the cards. But I feel that Swiper would really benefit from more development. This only becomes more apparent as the show goes on. The cast expands and Swiper the Fox is still the exact same character as he was in the first episode. However, the worst part of the show is the puzzles. Yes, this show tries to get its audience engaged through the use of several puzzles. It's like watching a Sherlock Holmes episode. You try to figure out the solution alongside the protagonist. What's really detrimental to this aspect is the lack of good puzzles. Oftentimes the puzzles are easy and can be solved within minutes, while other times the show presents you with a problem such as, can you see the ocean? But doesn't give you enough time to figure out on your own, and instead spoon feeds you the answer. And this is the main problem of the show. I feel like the writers don't understand the audience they want. At times it feels like this show is written for 10-year-olds with its simplistic plots, created only to sell merchandise. And I feel this is the best way to describe the Dora franchise. Don't ask questions, just consume product, and be excited for the next product. I will rate this Dora the Explorer a 7.8. Not enough water.